Yes, sir. You can continue, sir.
Yeah. Nirmal?
Sir.
I think it's the time is 10.
Yeah. Sir, you can continue.
Yeah. Okay. Shall we go ahead?
Sir, we can proceed.
Yeah. Good morning to all of you. So we have been conducting this workshop on enhancement of professional skills to enrichment of professional skills to enhance academic and research competency of the faculty. This is the third day. Today we have a dynamic speaker with us. And good morning, Dr. Sarhat Asai. Good morning. So here I'm going to read out. I'm going to introduce today's our dynamic speaker, Dr. Sarhat Asai. He earned his doctoral degree from Food and Resource Economics Department at the University of Florida. Dr. Asai has extensive experience with all the three missions of the university, like research, teaching, and extension. He holds a bachelor's degree in food engineering, that is in the year 2000, and a master's degree in food economics and management in the year 2008. Dr. Asai's research focus on three key areas, that is decision making under uncertainty, demand modeling, and international trade. He has applied his analytic and quantitative skills to the projects about water demand, water quality policy for agricultural areas, stochastic production function modeling, investment under uncertainty, international trade, differential demand and production systems, and agricultural land allocation. Dr. Asai has moved to Fresno State University in September 2014 and developed research on California industries at the Institute of Food and Agriculture at Fresno State. He joined the department as an assistant professor in the year 2015, and he is now an associate professor. Today he is with us. We are very happy that he is with us, and he'll be talking about data tabulation and visualization techniques. Over to you, Dr. Sarhat Asai.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Hopefully I can share my screen and give you some presentation, and also since it's a workshop, I like to show you how to do some of the work using Excel, which will be easily available for many of you, and it will help for research purposes. So just a second, let me arrange those. Okay, and I will try to do as much as possible in the limited 1 hour time. So hopefully if we miss anything, I'm fine sharing my resources with you. In the future, you might have a chance to go over them as well. So again, thank you very much for Dr. Hesh for inviting me. I hope I said it correctly. Yeah. And your dean and for Akarya-Ranga Agricultural University for this good workshop series. So what I will talk today is data tabulation and visualization techniques. So first we will start with data handling, which will be easily entering data and then importing, and then we will talk about database capabilities of Excel, like sorting, filtering, or subtotal. Quickly talk about pivot table and charts, and then some other details about moving averages, how to do graphs, and prediction and putting boundaries. So Excel, there are two. One way you can enter data, because it's important. You can enter manually in a horizontal manner, or you can enter data vertically. And I will show you what are the nice things, how Excel kind of help you. You can enter dates, some numeric interval, or some list, like months or week of the days. And plus you can import data instead of entering them manually, many governmental institutions or data you are working, they kind of store their data in different format. They are not necessarily in Excel or Excel compatible data sources, but Excel has a chance to turn it into Excel so you can see data and use visualization techniques for those. And then we will talk about sorting filtering. Let me quickly start here with entering data manually. So, for example, if you see my screen right now, for example, in Excel, if you were to write numbers like 1, 2, 3, and you need to write till 100, you don't need to write them all. As long as you would able to write 3 of them, what you could do is you can just, when you select these 3, there's a corner square here. If you pull the numbers, that corner, then if you drag it down all, then Excel puts the numbers for you easily. So you don't have to write, but it doesn't have to be interval of increments of 1. If you want to do increments of 0.5, for example, as long as you tell Excel what are the increments and put some numbers, by just pulling it down, it will give you by halves the numbers change. It can happen for 2s, 3s, 4s, and even with different weird numbers, if as long as you tell what is the kind of how the number changes, then Excel will follow your lead. And it's not just numbers. For example, if we are talking about dates, for example, today's date is, because I'm in the United States, they use month, day, year. So if I were to put next day here, and if I tell Excel, give me the dates by changing by dates, then Excel will move them one by one. If you do per month, for example, so March, April, if I move them, then it starts moving by month as well. So, and it is the same for week. So that's kind of a part that Excel helps you entering data manually. Plus, if you have data which is not directly compatible for Excel, but it might be another source, you can go here, for example, in Data tab on Excel, there's a part, it says how to get the data source. So there are different sources. Most of them you see text or CSV. Sometimes you can get data from web or different connections or resources. For example, I have a data ready for you. I will show. If you say, I want to get data from text, might take some time, just as we will see. Then as long as you know where you will get the data, you choose the data, which is a text data, then you can import and it will show on your Excel by converting that data into Excel. Any questions so far? Okay, I will go back to my data. Just to make sure, did you all have a chance to see my Excel part? Okay. The next part, you can do sorting and filtering information. For example, if you are working with data that comes from some international sources with so many different parts, you can filter and also use subtotals and totals to get more details about data. Now I will share you one of the data that I downloaded for you here for this session. Just a second, let me. Let me open this data, which I downloaded from Food and Agriculture Organization's statistics data. So here in this data, you see different countries from A to Z, all the countries till Zimbabwe, and there are different crops, barley, almond, we have avocado, and we have data about the area harvested for those, and then the production amount for different years, different values. So if you were to download a data from a source, what you could do is you can sort the data. So when you select all your data, if you under data tab using sort option, you can sort the data by element or area, by the item. So you can choose and sort them based on the year and then the item and different purposes. Plus, not just this, another easy one is filtering. So if you click at that filter button here, it gives you a chance that you can filter those. For example, you can choose any countries you want to work on. For example, I will unselect them and I will just choose, for example, here, India. Let's choose Mexico and then United States. And when I press OK, it gives me only information from Mexico, United States, India. And I can even filter more. I don't want to see all the information. I just want to see it's apples, almonds, avocados, and barley. I just want to see, for example, almond, apple production, only these two. So when I click on it, then I can see how much those countries harvested and then how much they produce. Another part, what you could do here is using subtotals. So for example, if we want only information for example, only for apples, and I want to see how much these countries harvested and produce. So under this, let me see here. If I select this information, and it should be here just sorry. So under here, you can use subtotal to figure out somehow this version of Excel that I have at home didn't have subtotal. So you can use the subtotal to understand the total of area harvested in different countries, different areas. Okay, so let's move to the next part quickly. Next part, I like to show you pivot tables and charts, which is an interactive worksheet that allows you to summarize large amounts of information. Also, you can use the graph in pivot table. So in pivot tables, columns are considered fields, then column headings are field names, rows are the records. And important part, your data shouldn't have blanks, columns, or rows, then it might be not giving you the right information. First, in order to create pivot table, you need to highlight all the data information. And then you need to choose pivot table chart option. So let me show you quickly what I prepared for you for this part. So here is an information. There are different group names here, and you want to create a pivot table to figure out how many of those group names repeat each other. So what you need to do is you need to select all the information data you have, then go to insert, and under insert, you need to choose pivot table. When you click on pivot table, it tells you what's your selection. If you want to create a new worksheet, you can choose this, or you can create in the existing worksheet. So when I choose a new worksheet here, what I need to do, here is the names, group names. I want them in rows, and I can select here. So each group names, as you see, I can see how many times those group names appear in the list that I have. I can also use sorting we just talked about. So if you go to data, and if you choose this part and sort them from Z to A, which is largest to smallest, then it also shows which one appears the most, which one appears the least. Plus, what I could do is when you select your pivot table information and go here, pivot table analyze, you can click on pivot chart, which gives you different pivot chart options. However you want to show them. It could be in area, it could be in different. We will talk more about those. For example, if you want to show as bar, and when you click on it, it shows pivot table as what are the group names and what are the how many times they appear. You can also, because it's interactive, you can also choose whichever you want to show in the graph. If you don't want to show some of them, you can just unselect them and press OK. Now my pivot table changes based on my selection. It doesn't change my data, but I only show what I want to focus on. There are different examples. For example, in this example, we have different sales information for different sizes, how many revenues, what's the expense, how many months members were there. So you again select your whole data and insert pivot table in a new worksheet. And then what I want to see, for example, my group segments, big, medium, small. What are my revenues? What are my expenses? And then member months for those. So for example, I can see the summation of those revenues, expenses. I can easily change them because we are talking about dollar amount. We can change the change them to currency, so I can see the amount. So by changing the formatting, and plus, if I don't want to see the revenue first from that pivot table, by just changing their places, I can put the member month in front of others. Again, if you want to create a pivot chart, you can always click on it. So, for example, I want to see them, for example, in column again. So sum of revenues, sum of expenses. I don't want to look at sum of member months. So I can easily change one of the big, medium, small. Here, only focus on one. Or I can say, I don't want to see, I don't want to see sum of months or sum of revenue, then I can remove those values easily here. Any questions so far? Okay, so another nice part about pivot table, you can drill down for details, or you can do automatic, or there are multiple data weaves. So for example, if I go back to my pivot here, if I want to see what are the details here, I can just click on this information and it tells me what are the details, where those numbers came from. It gives me all the information about that medium group segment, their revenues, expense. So I can drill down all the information in pivot table. And then if my data changes, for example, in pivot table. If my data changes, if there's a new information, I can update my pivot table, then it reflects my pivot table information here. Which means I can, if there's any change in core data, you need to refresh table, then your pivot table refreshes as well. Okay, so the first part was more about data handling. Now I will talk more about data visualization, which I will use an online source here. I can send you, you can follow here as well. And I will use food data, which has, I will show you the data information, which has food expenses versus your income level. And we can create different data analysis using those, using moving averages. For example, I will open the data for you quickly. Okay, so here is my food expenditure versus income data, which tells me when I earn, which is in $1,000, and food expenditure is in dollars. So it tells me when I earn, for example, 3.96 times $100, then my food expenditure is supposed to be $115 based on the information we receive. So what I could do here, I could show information using moving averages. Under Data tab, there is Data Analysis and Solver Analyze buttons. If you don't have them, you can use add-in source through your Insert tab. As you see, there are add-ins. You can add add-ins on your computer. Those are embedded on your Excel. You can easily reveal them out. For example, if you want to show food expenditure in moving average, which is kind of a graphing, you select your data, go to Data Analysis, and you choose moving average, and you press OK. You choose your input range. So your input range is your food expenditure information. You select that from A1 to A41. Since my first row is labeled, I need to check this box and say I want moving averages by 5. Then you can choose your output range somewhere on this worksheet, and you want to have chart output and standard errors. When you press OK, you will see you will get graph about your food expenditure, and the blue line and blue dots show your actual data, and the orange dots and orange line shows the forecast by moving average of 5s. So it tells me, based on the information on food expenditure, there is an increasing trend, and it started declining by time. And you can do the same for your income. You can choose, again, data analysis, moving average. Here you can choose your input range, which is in my B column, B1 to B41. Labels in first row by 5. Output range, I choose somewhere different than this one, for example. And when I press, I want chart output and standard errors. When I press OK, then it gives me my moving average chart for income level. Based on this, what I understand is my income level in this data is going up and the forecast is also following. So moving average by 5 for forecast. Let me go back to my slides. So here you can see some details, how we can enter those and why we need chart output and standard errors. And then plus we can add trend line on our moving averages to see what's the real trend. So if I go back here in this data, I want to see what's the trend actually in my food expenditure data. So when you right click on this information and when you say add trend line, it adds this black line as you see, which is linear. You can choose different options like exponential or logarithmic or polynomial power, and you can choose your order of polynomial or your moving average as well. And then when you add trend line, generally we like to add linear to see unless we know more information about data, but linear is kind of generally R to go. Then you can display equation and R square. So which means I can understand what's the information here in this data. So it increases by 5.5 coefficient. It R square very low, but still we see there's an increase in the data. Another part is two variable graphs on Excel. So since we have food expenditure and income information, I might like to have a graph that shows the interaction or relationship between my food expenditure and income level. So in this case, what I do is I select my whole data, which is from A1 to B41. I go say insert. Here, after I say insert, as you see, there are different chart options. Based on your data, you might choose different, but if you have two variables, you need to go always with X, Y scatter. So you can choose this or the other one. So I will go with this. And it gives me income versus food expenditure, which here, what I know is my income level is in thousands, which is smaller one, and it's food expenditure. So from the connection, I know my food expenditure shouldn't be in the X axis. Let me move this moving average part quickly so we don't get distracted here. if I know this information is not showing right, I need to change my X and Y axis. So what I could do is I can delete this. I can easily take this information, cut this part, and paste insert cut cells next to my income level. So as you see now, I have income with expenditure switch their columns. Then I do the same chart option one more time, select them all, go to insert, choose XY scatter, and I choose this. Now I see my Y axis is my food expenditure, X axis is my income. And if I have this, I need to show it professional. So as you see, it's very simple. So under chart design, there are different options. You can choose any of those, which I prefer to make my own. You can change the colors of your graph, and we can do everything actually manually as well. So first, what you could do, adding quick layouts are also another option, but I like to add everything by myself. First, I like to add axis titles. For example, I need to add vertical and horizontal. My vertical axis, as it was food expenditure. And my Y x-axis, my horizontal axis, is my income, which is in $1,000. And then, of course, you can change the title the way you want it. Food expenditure versus income. And then what else we could do is, if you go to chart element, you can add some other information, data labels, error bars. These are different. You can add a legend. But we can do this right now. So when I come here, what I could do is, instead of my table looking like this, I can change how this part looks. So for example, the legend lines, grid lines, are both horizontal and vertical. So I probably doesn't want any horizontal. So when I right click on those grid lines, I can say format grid line. And I can say no lines. Since vertical grid lines, I just kept horizontal. Another part you could do is you can format axis. For example, instead of 0 to 40, I can change the number. For example, we don't have anything over 35. So I can format axis here by saying not maximum 40. I want it to be done at 35. So which means I can see my information better. From 100 to 600, I can format those. So we don't have any information below 100. I can start from 100 if necessary, or just change this, and instead of 700, I can just say maximum is 600. So I can have better information people can see. Then I can add trend line here. For example, this another trend line, I can change the trend line format as well and display equation and R square as well. So it gives me what's the relationship between my income and food expenditure. In this case, my y-axis, food expenditure is y, is equal to 10 times 21 coefficient, income level, plus this is the intersection. Then R square is 0.0385. Not much, but it's good enough to understand there's a relationship between. What else I could do here is if you want to change the color, you can right click on your chart. You can say format chart area, and you can fill it with different colors. So it is now automatic. I can put solid fill, I can put gradient fill, or I can put some pictures or textures as well. So because you don't want to overwhelm people, maybe gradient fill it would be a best choice. But it is, as you see, blue, and my dots are blue, my trend line is blue. So maybe I want to change some of the information. So for example, when I right click on my trend line, I can change the color of trend line to different color. And the dots, instead of blue, I might want to change them. So I can right click on those dots and say format data series. So here, those are markers. I go to markers. So I can choose different. So I can choose solid fill, gradient fill, or I can even put some pictures. For markers, if I don't want any line, I can say I don't want no lines. So I just want to work with this. And you can even choose different pictures online. So if I press insert here, I can select information from a file. There are stock images, online pictures, even some icons. Microsoft started using those. For example, some stock images. We are talking about food. So I can search for food. So there are different food items. So if I want a specific food items, here, for example, it can be apple. It could be as icons, images, stickers, illustrations. So I can choose this as my image. So it change this one. Then plus, it's hard to see right now. So I can change the size from 5 to larger so you can see them better. And if you don't like it, you can add any type of picture that you might like. So from here, there are online pictures. You can just search online. For example, apples. So now I change all of them to face apple with faces. So there are so many different options you could do here. Do you have any questions so far? And next, what I will do with this information here. This information actually gives me how I can predict my income and food expenditure as well, which we can learn more about it using regression quickly. We have still 15 minutes, and that's the part I like to go with you right now, doing some simple regression with you. Okay. Just a second. So let me talk about regression. So it's this simple regression model. In this case, our y is our y-axis in the visualization. X is our x-axis, horizontal. And we said our y, our food expenditure, and income has a connection. And those beta null and beta 1, those are the coefficients. So we try to estimate it using regression model. And we define the best fit using this model, which I'm not gonna go into details, which is error square summation. We try to minimize that part. And we calculate standard error to see when we draw that forecast, how far our information would be. So for this one, I will work with you on a simple information. We can do the food expenditure as well, but let's work on little different data. And here I have very simple 10 observation advertising versus actual sales. So what we could do here is when you go to data tab and go to data analysis, there is a regression part. When I press OK, the Y here is my advertising. And then I select my X range, which is my actual sales. So when I advertise, what would be my actual sales? Sorry. My Y, when I advertise, which is my Y-axis, sorry, and advertising is my X-axis in this case. And since I selected from the first row, I need to check labels box. I want it in a new worksheet plot, and I call it regression. I'm going to see residuals and line fit plots, and press OK. In the new worksheet plot, you will see is the graph that shows my advertising versus my actual sales. And the coefficient here is my beta null and beta 1. And here is my R square. And this is the standard error for the regression. So what I could do after I calculate this, I can find my, since I calculated this part, I can find also forecast sales. So I can predict what would be my forecasted sales, again, in $1,000. which in this case, I will use quickly the formulation. So my advertising budget times this part is 5.55 plus my intercept. So as you see, using the information I receive, I can calculate what is my forecasted sales if I advertise $30. And I can calculate for the rest of them. And here is my forecasted sales. Plus, what else I could do is I can use the information from standard error to find the minimum and maximum boundaries. So if we go back here, we calculated actually Excel calculates the standard error for you, which is very helpful making prediction. Generally, your maximum lower and upper prediction intervals are 2 times your standard error and what you predicted. So by using those, we can figure out if I were to spend $65,000 on advertising, what would be my minimum and maximum sale values, because it's impossible to forecast at one actual number. So as you see here, just let me share back again. So my upper boundary, lower boundary here is what I forecasted. Since we are talking about upper, which is plus 2 times my standard error, which is 20.42 from my regression. And I do the same, my forecasted value minus 2 times from my regression, which is my standard error 20.42. And using these two information, I can calculate for the rest. And good thing about Excel, when I drag it, if you fix the important information, it calculates everything for me. So I don't need to recalculate everything again. Now I have my forecasted sales here. Then I have my lower and upper boundary sale information. So what I will do next is I'm going to create a graph using those. So I select my advertising and actual sales. I will insert XY scatter data. And I'm going to insert axis titles. So this is my sales in $1,000. This is my advertising budget, again in $1,000. And what else I will do here? I don't have any information below 20, so I can format axis here, say start from 20 all the way to 100. And I don't have any sales below 100, so I can format these axes again, saying start from 100. And then next, what I will do, I have my actual sales, and I will change this information as sales versus advertising, because it shows me the relationship between sales and advertising. So after you select those, when you click on your chart, sorry about this part. When you click on the chart, you see where this data is selected as you highlighted parts here. So when I drag this highlighted parts for my y-axis, if I drag it for the next information, it puts all the information on my graph. Now on my graph, I have sales and advertising, and also my forecasted sales and upper and lower boundaries. Again, what I will do here, I want to add, in this case, legends, because there are different information here: actual sales, forecasted sales, upper and lower boundary. And here, what else I will do is, instead of dots for my forecasted sales, I want a line. I will change it into a line instead of dots, so I don't want any markers, but I want a line which is a solid line and which I want it orange, for example. And for my boundaries, instead of dots, I want to again change it into a line. So I don't want any marker, but I want a solid line, which in this case, I want the color, for example. You can choose anything that's going to be, for example, dark green. And my upper bound, in this case, gray. So again, I want to change it. So I don't want marker. And I want a line, solid line, which will be green. So as you see here, this is the blue dots are my actual sales. I forecasted this line using regression analysis, my forecasted sales. And upper and lower boundary, as you see, all the real sales based on my regression within those upper and lower boundary. It sometimes goes above it because it's 95% chance that will fit into this between those lines, but 5% chance it might go upper or lower than the boundaries. So, which kind of concludes what I would like to talk to today. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to respond at this point. I hope it was useful for you to understand, because those are very helpful for our publication purpose and other studies. Any questions?
Yeah, sir. Very good morning. This is Nirmal Kumar. I have a small doubt. It was very nice to hear from you about the data analysis in the statistical package, especially in case of Excel. So I have a small doubt that how to create a standard error box in the bar graph.
So, yes.
Standard, yeah.
Yes, standard error comes when you do the regression here. This standard error calculates by itself. So actually there is a formula to calculate, but Excel calculates the standard error for you. So you just need to use that information. But those are not standard errors for coefficients, just to make sure. This is for the regression standard error. Right? Able to...
Okay, thank you, sir. One more a small doubt that can you
Yes.
convert the words numbers into words without using any what we call separate programming or like that in the Excel? Just
converting
suppose
them.
130. Can we give it as 130?
There are ways, but those are little apps or add-ins you might need to have in order to do it. For example, I use different apps on my Excel. As long as you have those apps, you would able to do it, but Excel by itself for free, I'm not sure. For example, one of the add-ins I use is Decision Tree. Another app I use is Smetar, for example. In this case, if I have Smetar, I can easily change and view formula. So if there's any formula here, when I click view formula, it tells me what are the formulas. So it kind of does, but you might need to pay for it, or you might need to have those add-ins. Sometimes it comes for free.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Sir, I have one doubt, sir.
Yes.
Sir, is there any specific for R square so that we can say it is a good fit? So if it is 0.3, 0.5, 0.7, is there any standard value to say that R square is a good fit to explain the model?
So generally, R square, we want R square closer to 1, but it doesn't mean R square is higher, your model is better. What you need to check actually when you estimate a model, predict, you need to check the specific coefficients being significant or not. For example, I'll show you again here under regression. Let me change this part. So in this regression part, as long as your coefficients are statistically significant, then your R square, here it is 97%, which advertising explains a lot about your sales, but it's not always a good thing. There might be some kind of endogeneity in your multicollineary situation that might impact that R square. So what we need to check is actually if those coefficients are statistically significant. In this case, you check these two standard errors and check those p-values being generally less than 0.1 or 0.15. So as long as those p-values are less than 0.10 and your t-stats are generally around 2 or above, then we can say your model works. So it doesn't mean always your R square shows your model is being really good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for clarifying that.
You're welcome.
Yes. Are there any other questions? Any other questions? If not, Dr. C, this is a pleasure that we had your lecture today, and you have started it from the very basic for the pivot tables. From then onwards, you have taken it to a next level, and you could able to convince the people that you need not have the expensive softwares to do this statistical analysis. Just with Excel, if you can master this Excel, we can produce the excellent graphs, and data tabulation and visualization can be done with Excel itself. That was a very informative talk, and thank you very much for you on the board, and this is an honor for us.
Thank you very much for inviting. I was really happy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Vani.
Yes, sir.
Do we have another speaker ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The another speaker is ready. Just a minute, sir.
Yeah. You may please go ahead. You please introduce him,
Yes, sir. 1 minute, sir.
or anybody. Anybody is there?
Elena?
Yeah. A very good morning to all the participants. So I would like to introduce the next speaker.
Sure.
So he is Shoaib Isani, where he is an organic marketing coach from Telangana. And if you see his so he is working as a full-time organic marketing coach and helping coaches and service providers to get the clients from Facebook without cold outreach and no paid ads. And he'll be taking the talk on the art of taking your images to next level. So welcome, sir. Welcome for this workshop.
Thank you so much, Nirmal sir, for introducing me. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all are doing good. So today we're going to discuss about Photoshop. Let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we could able to see.
Okay. So my name is Shoaib Isani. I'm an organic marketing coach. So we will not waste time on introduction as Nirmal sir did. So let's jump. What's the agenda of today? Today's agenda, I will cover all the basic tools from Photoshop, what requires you need to get started for using Photoshop. What we'll do today, how to change the background of an image, how to add or remove the text on an image, remove the person or an object from the image. Like we'll go depth into it. This is just topics we're gonna add gradient colors to the background, how to save the image file in the right way so that you don't lose your image. What is Photoshop? Before we begin, we need to understand what Photoshop does. Photoshop is a rasterized based software. There are two ways that Adobe gives you an option. Like there is an Illustrator and also there is an Photoshop. What is the difference between both of them? Photoshop is a rasterized based software. What do I mean by that? Photoshop works on pixels. It's a combination of pixels, right? Pixel is a box. We'll see when I visually soon. Also, when you these are Photoshops are used for digital purposes. Example, if you're running ads, if you're creating photos for social media or a digital format, eh, on a digital format. On the other hand, Illustrator is being used for paper-based content. Example, there are hoodings, pamphlets. For that, to design those kind of designs, we use illustration. Why we do that? There might be a question. Because in Photoshop, when you expand the image size, example, I have set an image 100 by 100. And if you see image in the same size, it looks good. But if you enlarge, if you zoom in to see the details, pixel get broken and image get destroyed in Photoshop. But on Illustrator, if there is no doubt, even if you zoom 100% to 1%, zoom in, pixel don't get broken. This is the difference between them, right? So where to begin? So we'll see first how to create document. Before we have to see the document. First, for creating documents, we have to remember the settings. We have to remember the document size. There are different document size. Example, if you are creating a Facebook post, there's a different size. If you're creating a Facebook story, there's a different size. If you're creating a pamphlet, there is a different size. So you have to see what you're making and you have to see the dimensions before creating any doc file in the Photoshop. Why I say that? Because if you randomly create a document without knowing the accurate dimensions, now next you might feel a pamphlet has this much size, but your document, what you have designed in Photoshop, is not accurate. Like it's big and your flyer, your dimensions are small. Now you want to compress it like in the size, accurate size. You want to fit, example, you want to fit in this box, right? But your image is like extra, going outside of the box. You want to change. Now what you do, you try to zoom, shorten the image. If you do that, your image get destroyed. Your image gets blurred from the right hand side, the left hand side, anywhere. It might get destroyed and it won't look good, and you waste your time and you won't get the accurate results what you are expecting, right? So that's the reason before getting started you have to understand for what you are designing. If you're designing a Facebook post, you have to know the dimensions and add it. We'll see practical. Just get started and just giving the basics from where to start. Okay. Units are always always in pixels. There are two ways. You can have a portrait format document, or else you can have a landscape format. Sorry. Resolution, you have to keep it at 72. For screens, like as you all know, we are working on a displays, right? So we have to see what resolutions we have to go with. You can go extra, but good fit is 72 for screens. Or color will be always RGB. What that mean? RGB stands for red, green, blue. 8 bits. What's that? If you have searched an image on Google or on YouTube, the image you're getting all the images are in 8 bits format, right? That's the reason we use that. Let's do practical. This is now this is a Photoshop interface. when you get started, you see this. Now we have to click this create new. What is it? This is a new document as we discussed. Now on the right hand side, you can see present details. You can write project one based on what you're doing. Okay. If you're writing, so creating a social media post, you can write social media post, FB post, anything. Now this is the dimension. Now you got a question. Now I don't know the dimensions, right? You might have this question. You can go to Google. Now I want to design Instagram post size. You can see that ideal size of square box is 108 by 108. Whatever first, this is like comes, this is like width, and this is it. Also you can see here, they have showed 108 by into 108. So we'll take this size, okay, just for reference to show you. What is that? In Instagram post. Instagram post 0. Okay. 1080 by 1080. We have seen it should be in pixels. There are many things, but you just focus on this. Resolution 72 pixels per inch. It means 72 pixels per inch. Resolution, the definition of this is 72 pixels per inch. Okay. Color mode RGB, red, green, blue, 8 bits. It will be white background. Let's create it. Now let's see what's this, what is this in the middle, what is on the right hand side. This is the toolbar. These are the tools which we use to modify the image. There is an image. Now we have to modify something to look good or to give a new style. Okay. So we use these tools. This is known as toolbar. These are the properties of each tool. Now if I select this tool, these properties will change. Okay. This is somewhat advanced. So there are some basic properties. We'll go with that. This is what we are working. This white box is known as canvas. Everything, whatever we do, whatever kind of design, shapes, everything we add images, it should be here and it works here. So we call it as canvas. Now this is the properties that we known as layer, channel, path. First we'll see only layer. What is layer? Let's see. You have an image. Okay, this is an example. This is an image. You see, this is an image. Now if I do something here on image and it comes everything here. Now if I want to change, like I did a mistake, I wanted to erase some kind of color, some yellow color example, and now if you erase that image will be destroyed, right? Image, like if my face is there, if I did yellow color here, and if I want to erase, my face will be erased. To not go with that, these are the layers. Layers work as a transparent mirror. Okay, think it as transparent glass. Okay, one layer you have one transparent glass. Two layers you have second transparent glass. So your image is completely saved because of the transparent glass. Now whatever happens, everything happens on transparent glass. The transparent glass in Photoshop language we call it as layer 1. You can name anything based on what if you're adding shapes, you can do that. We'll show you. Okay, now you can see on the right hand side of the layer there is a block icon. What is that? Let me draw and show. I'm using a brush which is shortcut B. Reducing the size, I will change the color and to red. If I draw this, now I want this red on the bottom. Now you see what happens. I cannot do that. Even if I'm clicking on the see what is saying, current section cannot be done because it's in background layer. Always you have to unlock the background layer and don't work on background layers, because background, what you're doing extra thing. Whatever you are doing extra Extra, what I mean is adding, you're modifying. Now, if I'm doing the brush, I'm modifying it, right? Whatever you're doing, every new step, you have to work on new layer. Okay. Now, Control Z, I'll undo, double click on this background, on this double click. It's asked, okay. Now it's unlocked. Now you see, if I use the brush, now if I do it, whole background is erasing. I said you right, whole image will be destroyed. Something if I want to do, now let's take eraser. See, if I'm erasing, I want to erase this red line, but the background is erased. That's the reason we use the transparent glass. We call it in Photoshop layer. I'm saying transparent just to make you understand. Okay, now let's see what happens when you use new layer. For new layer, there is a shortcut Control Shift N. Don't worry about shortcuts. I have written all the shortcuts in a doc file that can be, we'll be sharing that. Now shortcut brush V. Now you see, if I drop here, shortcut V for move. This is on a this is transparent glass. Okay, we call it as layer 1. I'm working on layer 1. As you can see, it is like shaded. This is shade and this is not shade. Now if I click here, I'm on a layer 2. If I click layer 1, I'm working on layer 1. Whatever you do, everything happens on layer 1. Okay. Now see, if I want to move, can you see that it's only the red color is moving? This is what we have used this. That's why we are using layers so that original image won't get affected. I hope this got clear. This is the basics because most people get stuck. When I get started, I used to get stuck in this a lot. So I understood when before I go to this toolbar, I always go create one new layer. First, before I go to this left on the left hand side, toolbar. These are the tools. On the right hand side there is a layer icon. I create layers before I go there. Okay. So now we are clear with that. Selection tool. We'll discuss selection tool. Okay. Now, what I said before I go to left side in the toolbox, I have to create a new layer. Control Shift New Layer N. Control Shift N New Layer. Now what I'll be doing? Box. I'll be creating a box with selection tool. So I'm giving the name box. This is selection tool. Now, what the use of selection? If I select this area, okay, whatever I do now, if I paint brush, whatever I do, it works on in this area. It won't come out. See, if I'm doing here, it's not coming. But when I go down, see, it's only working. It's the pixels are only adding into this box. The paint is painting on this box. Okay. Okay. See, I'm doing that. Now, something I don't want this box. Control Z, undo. Control Z, undo. Right? Whatever I do, it comes in this box. No matter if you're drawing now, we'll go later there. Second, circle. We call ellipse tool. Now see, let me show you one. Now if I draw this, can you see this is not a proper circle, right? It's not accurate, it's looking like an egg. Now I did a mistake. What should I do? I should press Control plus Z, undo. How can I get the accurate circle? Select marquee tool, press Shift. Before drawing, press Shift. Okay, Shift key, then draw it. Now you can see it's accurate circle, right? Because the shift helps you to lock the dimensions in accurate, like proportionally. It moves proportionally. It means if design is here, the same design works on the parallel sides. So we don't get distracted. The design don't get moved like from up, down, it won't get disturbed. Okay, now still, if I use brush tool, can you see what mistake I'm doing right now? I'm not using again new layer. What I say, if I go to the toolbar, I have to use this brush. Now, sometimes you might need just light little bit color. Now you see we are on the brush tool. Now we need opacity, which means it reduce the visibility of the brush paint. Okay, example, let's see here. First I'll draw with 100%. Okay. This is the opacity. We go 40%, 43%. Remember, it depends on you, what's your need. Now you see visibility is what it is compared to the others. Right. Now, if I want to move this thing, right. Now this again, the lines are to remove the lines, control plus D, which means deselect. It's a section, right? To deselect, we have to write control plus D. Use that and deselect. V for move. It's moving. Now, if you on the right hand side, you see there is an eye icon. Now, if I open, it's visible. If I click on this, it's not deleted. Remember this, it's not deleted. It is just not visible on the canvas. Okay, so that if you're working on something, we need that, but we need that thing in the end. So we can do that. I need this thing in the end. So I will stop the visibility so that whatever I'm doing, I don't get disturbed because of that circle. Okay. I hope you're getting this. Yeah. Set this box. Now we are done with selection tool. We'll go with next tool, lasso tool. Okay. What is lasso tool? I don't know the network problem. Yeah. Lasso tool. Now, as we discussed, what lasso tool does. For that, we have to open a new image. For that, if you want to add an image on this canvas, you have to use place link. But if you don't want to get that image in the canvas, you want that image in the sidebar, side tab. Open. Now, this is an image. Now, if I start doing this here, as you remember, on the right side, it's background and it's locked. Now, can I do or move anything? I get whatever I select, it's just waste of time. Always remember, you have to unlock this. Now, if I do something here, my image get destroyed. Like the originality of image get destroyed. And if you save, it will not get undo. So to say be on safe side, always use Control J to duplicate the image. Control plus J. This is a duplicate. See, you can see layer 0 and layer 0 copy. Whatever we do on copy. Why? If you get something mistake, we can undo or we can directly delete it. So it won't affect original ones. You see, copy I example deleted, think as a deleted. So it's still the original is here. But if I do something on original, you'll be lost. Now let's see what Lasso Tool. Lasso Tool helps you to select like this. It depends on you use, but you see kind of selection tool. Okay. Now Control J. Why? Only this selected part will be affected. You see, Control plus J. I'll disable this. Now see. Now, but you can see we got like it's not completely good, right? Like the sky is coming and this is coming. For that there is a different tool. We'll delete that copy part. We'll come to the copy of image. Okay. Now there is another tool, Polygon Lasso Tool. What is this? What's the difference between them? Now have you seen what when we are selecting, it was like the cursor was moving like this, and that's the reason the sky came. But here, straight selection. What are the straight we have? Whatever image straight, we can select straight part. Due to time, I'm doing fast, okay? But when you're doing the project, you have to see you have to zoom. How you can zoom? Alt, scroll up. Okay. Now see. Now I'm going down. Now you might ask, now sure, down part will be coming. No. What I said that whatever is in canvas, that will come. Okay. Yeah. See, now it's selected. Let me show you by copying. Control plus J. Hope you remember. Now see how accurate. You are not getting sky. Like whatever buildings are the straight, like square, rectangle, dimension, square. You have anything on the image, you can use this tool. Now let's value this. Okay. This is another magnetic lasso tool. What's this? For that hand to move that image, I'm using shift. Now I can move that image to anytime so that I can see the angle. Again, I want to zoom more to show you. Alt, scroll up. On your mouse, you can scroll up. Okay. Again, shift, doing this. Now you see if a starting point is here, I'm not doing anything. I'm just moving my mouse and it's automatically selecting using AI. Okay. It will take your time, but you have some small details. Sometimes you want to select a small detail, but your hand is shaking. So just you move with a mouse cursor and see that it's automatically selecting. Okay. Due to time, I cannot completely show you that. Now, there will be some mistake. Oh, no, I did a mistake. I wanted to select. Now, if you go back, it's still there. What we have to do here, do backspace, press backspace, and come back. Press backspace, press backspace. Okay. See what the mistake what can do, right? This is what we use. Okay. Due to time, I'm not doing. Yeah. Yeah. Can I off my video because it's taking a lot of bandwidth? That's the reason it's getting slow. If you don't mind. Okay. No problem. I'll try it. Quick selection tool. This is the most commonly used tool. What is quick selection tool? Let's work on something new. Okay. Place link. Now there's a man. First, what we have to do whenever you take image, always make a copy so that you don't destroy your original image. Control plus J. Okay. Now, the quick selection tool. Now I cannot see this. To increase that, you can go to properties, size of the brush so that you can, okay, increase the weight. See, if I'm just removing my cursor and it's automatically selected. You don't need to think, okay, this is something. AI, it uses AI and it detects. Now I did a mistake. I did selected a background. How to remove that? Select minus. If you can see minus, now we can minus. Now reduce your brush size. See, you can deselect. It takes time because it's working on AI. So it calculates the pixels, color, dimensions, everything. Like lighter and darker. So see, still, that's right. So we have to take time to select proper. Now there is some thing what we call we have an AI detection. Yes, it's done. Now it's not proper, right? Let's do in a different way. Control D, deselect, Control V, move. Select. There is an option when you go to select, I'll repeat it again, select mask. Okay. Now, here there is a quick selection tool, same tool. I know it's check. select subject. This is an AI. Photoshop works with AI, and it's a try to select object for us. It's working. Okay, it's not detecting. Now, there is a simple way. Even it sometimes Photoshop get not detects because of image quality. Okay. Now there is a different way. Okay, to do that. There is a tool known as remove.bg, which means bg stands for background. Upload that same. We will upload the same image. And this is an AI tool. It works. See, what we want is just because sometimes we face difficulty to use that. Even we can use the quick selection tool and we can use that, but sometimes the hairs might not get completely accurate using, so that it's professional, it's advanced. There's an advanced thing so that it's very difficult to get it under this class. It takes 30 minutes to explain that. So we'll this shortcut. Main goal is done. We need this. What's this? Now control shift plus and new layer. Okay. This is my reference. Remove the RGB, remove the green. So I will close this all images. We'll bring that image here. Place link. Now we download it recently. Double click. Click. Now remember one thing. Now this is small image. I want to increase the size of that image. Most people what do they do? They do this thing. Sometimes it works random. If you're doing this, it works sometimes, but proportional. But some images might get destroyed, like up, down, it gets destroyed. So
Hello.
Sir,
Yeah, Vani, is there any problem?
yes, sir, there was a problem. We got some error presently. So
Uh-huh.
Shoaib has got an error with the link, sir. He's again trying to get logged in using the link.
Oh, okay, connectivity problem is there. Okay,
Yes, sir.
okay. Hmm. Yeah, anyhow, we have that connectivity problem there. Students who are sitting in the IDP hall. Can you put the chair back? That's good. Thank you.
show it. Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hi,
ma'am.
Vani.
I'm sharing my screen.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we were discussing about, sorry for inconvenience, guys. So we have that image ready with us. Always use shift and increase the size. Okay. Now we are done with that. Also, now it's looking this thing. Let me show you what gradient tools does. This is gradient. If I go this way, now can you see? Can you say why it's coming up? Where is my image? See on the right hand side, we did a mistake. What we discussed, the glass is in front of the image. What we have to do, select that, click on the left key on the mouse, drag it down. We got the image down, right? Also, there is a shortcut. You can use FX gradient overlay. There are some options, so you can design in the way you want. As you can see the preview on the back side, let's design something with different colors. Let's take this color example. Now you see opacity. You can see the opacity. You can decrease or increase. When I decrease, it decreases the opacity. It increases the opacity. Angle. The angle is right now here 122. If I change the angle will be changed of that gradient. You can see the back side. Okay. I'm changing angle. This is angle. I'm changing the angle. Yeah. Okay. This looks fine. This is scale, like how big you want, how small. Just press OK. We're done with that. Still, you want to do something more with that image. Control plus J, because I always say, try your thing on new layer. Effects. Now I want to add a shadow. Okay. We always add drop shadow for that image. This is a drop shadow. Opacity, for just example, for noticing, I'm showing you 100%. We'll change the color of shadow. Yeah, white. Okay, and just to show you, I'm increasing the distance. Can you see background? There's a shadow, right? Now it's coming single 90 degrees. We can change the angle of shadow. If you want to give on the right side, go this. If you want to do the left side, go this. The shadow, let's decrease the shadow. Distance, we can spread like how spread from the original image to the distance from where till where you want to spread. Just to show you, let's keep it this. It looks good. Also blend mode. What's the blend mode? Now you see it's on normal. But if you change the upside, dark, the box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these are the dark, it burns the pixel, burns which means it shows the dark output. These are the light output. And these are like slight touches. There are different, it works on based on your image color, it works. Example, we'll use multiply. It's mingle, like multiply. It won't look, there's, I think, no, let's see, screen. Okay, looks good. Okay, done. Where we can see now, if you don't want the drop shadow, sometimes you don't want, like, I don't want now, we'll see it later. Eye icon, visible, not visible. Okay, now we have to take the new image. Open the bag, unlock the background, Control Shift N, new layer. Now I'm working on new thing. That's the reason. Control, yeah, files, place link. I'm choosing an image. I'll show you how you can remove an object or a person. Depends. An object also you can remove, a person you can remove from the photo. Now this is a photo. This is original. So we always remember Control plus J, duplicate. Now content aware. For that, we use, for selection we use Lasso Tool because it's there are different size, so it will be convenient. I'm selecting a near. I'll show you what happens if we select. Now this person will be removed from this image. This selection is done. Shift, remember Shift, backspace key. Okay. Smart. Shift, backspace. What I did, have you noticed on the right side? What I did, I just want to show you that. First, it was not rasterized. As you remember, see, it's a smart object. Smart object, it works on illustrations. So it won't completely is able to not completely catch the pixels. So like Photoshop is saying, if I want to catch the pixels, give me the permission. Turn this image into rasterized layer. There's option how you can get it. Select this image, click on the right side of the mouse, right click. Don't get confused. There's a rasterized layer. Turn this image into rasterized. So now Photoshop can see the pixel boxes. What are the main pixel boxes? Let me show you. So this, you can see the image, okay? But this is not a complete image. This is a mixture of boxes. More. See, you can see the boxes, the light shading. Every box a single color contains. Okay, every box contains, or we can call it carry, a single color. Mixture of single colors of different shades which combines an image. Okay, this is the boxes. Can you see? Or let's zoom out some more. This is the box, right? Now let's do something to show you. This magic tool, as we said, this tool will only select what are similar to its near button. Yes. Why it's not set? Still I'm using the same layer. Also, one more thing. I did not turn this image into rasters. Right? That's the reason it's not selected. But let's see if I turn this image raster layer. Transparency, what the transparency means, how much accurate you want to select. Still moving. Yes. Okay, it got selected. See, the, it's speaking. Am I audible, everyone? Now?
Yeah, now it's okay.
Okay.
Now it's okay. For the last 10 minutes, it was not okay.
Okay. Oh, my bad. Okay, I'll try to explain you again. No problem.
Yep.
I'll try to explain you. Okay, I'm moving the image. See, it got selected. When I use this, it's selecting. But what I said, it will select nearby objects, nearby color pixels box. That's the reason it's selecting vast. So we did not show on the zoom section, right? Let's see. Lasso tool. I'm selecting randomly. Okay. Now we will try to remove this person from the image. Shift backspace, content aware, fill. This is an option called fill. What it helps? It helps to take pixels from other side which is not selected and add pixels to the selected area. Okay, so that the person was there, it will be hidden. Let's see how it was the output. It's progress. It will take time to show. Now it's done. You can see on the right hand side, but the image, this thing is visible. If I unvisible this, can you see the person has disappeared? We have disappeared the person. How we can do that? Let me repeat it again. Lasso tool to select the area. As you can see, there's a preview on the left hand side, small box. You can select this much area. Photoshop, I want to remove the selected area, and you collect the pixels from unselected area, so it gets combined and it looks good. Okay, that's the reason we use. How we use that? Select the area first. Second step, shift backspace. Shift backspace. Okay, so that you will the option appears fill. From fill, I will work on new image. So that control shift layer. Base the image. Let's take this one. Hope you remember. Copy the image. Control plus J. Rasterize that image so that Photoshop knows Okay, I have to select, and Photoshop will be able to select the boxes. Okay, we call it as pixels. Select the bird. Okay, now due to time I'm selecting fast, but when you're doing the project, select accurately. Okay, like near to nearby. Now we got selected. Third step, shift backspace. The option appears. There are many options here. Don't worry about this. These are different things. First, only work on this content aware. Okay, don't disturb this objection. Let it options. Let it be. Okay, it's working. See, yeah, it disappeared, right? Where is the bird? It disappeared. We disappeared. Invisible. This was the original. This is what we modified. Here, this is what we modified. Okay, it's a simple steps. You don't need to worry. Now, covered, lasso tool covered, quick selection covered, magic wand, layers covered. I said you what layers, crop tool. Okay. Sometimes, let's take an example of this image. This image, when you click the image, like you got that only 10 seconds and you click the image, sky view or sunset, and the image got crossed, like your image is not accurate in the right dimension. What you can use, there's a crop tool. Okay, crop tool, you can crop normal crop, what we do on a regular basis. But second option, perspective crop tool, select that. What's the main object? Control plus, I'll work on new layer. Okay, let's check rasterize. My bad. We have to turn this into rasterize. Now, because see, if images are not on rasterize, it shows the option. Okay. Photoshop is saying, I cannot select the pixels. Please show in the rasterize. Now I'm seeing. If I do this, and there's an option, right click, this right. Okay. Press that. The image brought straight. Right. This is what it happens. Hope you understand.
Show the bird.
Now we'll see next thing. Brush tool. It helps you to brush. This is brush tool. It helps you to. Okay. Why this is like why we are getting low visibility? Because we have to see the properties. 100% opacity. Flow is 6. Flow. What do I mean? There's what the difference between flow and opacity. Opacity, it reduces the visibility. But the flow, what happens when you paint this thing? How much paint should Photoshop push? Should Photoshop pressurize there? That's the known as flow. What should be the flow? Like example, there's a pipeline and there's a meter. Like the water should flow in 10% speed. Okay, this is kind of speed of the paint on the canvas, right? I have given an example. Now, if I increase the speed, the color, when I click, the color will come so fast, see. But if I reduce the speed, if I click on the right hand side, next to that, see. Can you see the difference? Yeah. That's the difference between flow and opacity. Opacity will just reduce the visibility. It's not about flow. Flow is 100%, but visibility, just to look how it looks. But the flow, how it flows, the colors. We'll create new layer. We'll read, okay, brush tool, and show you one thing. There are this, what I'm doing right now is there, if I select the brush, and if I go into this, there are different panels for the brush, right? There are different kind of brushes. Now, if I select, I want to select the grass. Give me a sec. Okay, let's take this brush type. Okay, example, we can select any one, depends on the uses, just for showing you. Now, reduce the size, we can reduce the size from here, like brush size, up, down. Let's take 45, 50, increase the size more. We can increase, because it's not, okay. Now, we can change the color from here. I will be trying to do the grass thing. We can do that. I'm painting impression, doing a brush here, right? This is the brush type. That's the reason there's one dark and one light. Okay, there are different types of brush you can explore there, but I'm just trying to draw the grass kind of thing. Okay, see, right now, if I move, why it's moving? Because we worked on layer one. It's on glass one example. Okay, now this is done. Hope you're getting it. My voice is, if your voice is not coming, ma'am, please just say me on my voice. Okay. Clone tool. This is something interesting. No, let's bring one image. I'll try to move fast due to some time issue. Let's take this image. You guys remember, whenever you bring a new image, you know what to do. Copy the image, Control plus J. See, is it rasterized or not? Try to do it rasterized. Clone tool. This is a clone tool. What it does, clone tool helps you to clone, like as the name represent, clone. We can clone the same thing to a different area. Okay, let me show you. Now, how the option is changing with this and from this. Okay, I'm pressing Alt. Whenever source, what Alt works, from where Photoshop should pick the source to clone that. To show that, bring near to the source, press Alt, click on the left key. Okay, take from here. Then where should I add that? Okay, let's add here. Now you don't need to press any key, just press left and draw it. You can see there are two cursors on the left, right hand side. We are drawing on the left. From there, the Photoshop is taking, right? See, this is what it clones. We clone that two circles. Still, we can do that again. I'm taking source. Again, I'm doing here same thing. Did you get that? Now, what if I want this car backside on the here also? Same on the both side. Let's try to do if it works. It will work. I want to show. Source, take from this door. Now, see if I do this, okay? If I do this, where it's not coming, right? Where is the back side? It's coming same. Yes. Why? Because there's a new step we have to see, focus on. Go to Windows. There, can you see? Go to Windows, search clone source. This is an option, clone source. This is the properties, extra properties, which means extra feature. Okay. Now you can see this is an option, flip horizontal. It will flip. Example, if you're doing and taking from left, it will try to flip that and show it the right side. Let's enable that feature. Minimize. Now let's see. I'll slightly zoom it. I'll take this source from this door. Try to make it accurate door. Okay. Now let's start doing this. Can you see on the left hand side, it's taking the source and it's drawing. Okay. Taking the source from the left side and it's drawing on the right side. Right. See, this is what you can do. Photoshop is vast. It depends on your creativity. How you want to explore, how you can do that. Just I show you the tools, what's the use of tool. It depends on you how you use it. You can do more creative things and see. It's looking good. That's it. Give it some time. Next time. Yeah. Hey, it looks good. I hope you understand.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see the original. This is the modified. Okay. Let's see the original. This is the original. We just modified it. Clone from on the left side. We cloned on the right side. Okay. Yeah. Take the new source. Let's see what's left. I'll try to go see. Okay, I got it. Healing tool. For healing, what the healing tool does, I'll show you. I cannot explain. This is an old image. Okay, like we have some old photographs of our parents or our grandparents, right? But control set, let's see if it's on rasterize. Yes, it's on rasterize. I turned it. Now, can you see spot that this like you the photos what we have, what we scanned, it like due to old, it get destroyed, right? Like lines up there. But we'll try to fix this photo and make it look good. How? We can use healing tool. This is one spot. Healing. First we'll see. Okay, let's healing. What healing tool does, it works similarly as clone tool. Okay, but they might be a bit difficult to solve this problem. Like if I take the source from here, same source, same alt, take the source, take this color and try to do it here. But see, it's not completely, it's doing not good, right? It's why because it's taking the pixels. What we have said, take this pixel from here. Because there is no AI stuff, because AI knows what color is the color, right? Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, fine. Okay. What we can do, we have to use spot healing. It works same. It works same, but you don't need to give a source file. Now you don't need to press Alt and then just click on where you want to hit. Let's see. I'll show you zoom in slightly. See this white? This white will be erased. It will take time because it's calculating by using AI. It will take time. It's healing, spot healing, exact on the spot. I want that to heal that. It's healing. Let's see here. I want to do something more. Click on that. Just click on that. It will take time to calculate. That's the reason it's so. It will take time because it's on AI. It is finding the pixel and brushing there right now. You need to give them a to see. They are removing. Can you see the difference? This part. It's moved. Now, let's see the difference. Original and what we modified right now. I'll make it. Hello? Give me a minute, guys. We saw the difference, right? This is an original image, and if we make visible what we modified, we did this. We did this. Okay. So let's jump to the new tool because of time. I have to go fast. Let's take a new layer. See what's the next. Spot healing we did. Content aware we did. Pen tool. Gradient we did. Okay. I'll cover it together. Okay. This is our canvas. Pen to center so that we can focus. Now, what is pen tool? I'll try to show. Unlock the background, Control J, copy, see it's rasterized, yes. Now, what's the use of pen tool? It works similarly like selection, but it helps in selection. But see, what's the difference? If I select like this, it might go up and down by using Lasso Tool, this tool, right? It might go up, down, it won't get accurate. Just for time I'm using now. If I click end destination and don't leave the left key, don't remove your finger from left key and start dragging until it gets accurate. Okay. Then press Alt. If you want to go further, press Alt and select this anchor point. We call this as anchor point. So that we know I want to go forward. Still select this. Okay, due to time I'm doing fast. I click here. Select this. It helps you to do the selection of those points. Okay. Why it happened because I did not select it and not accurate. Backspace. Backspace. Okay. I'll show you here. Okay. You got it, right? It works similarly like that lasso tool. Just it helps you to make the curve points accurate. Without selecting, you can make the curve points like you can select, click here. Don't leave here. Left click and don't release your finger until you get accurate selection. Then release it. And then they don't release. Okay, I don't know. This is taking time. Due to time, I'll go forward. Okay. Okay, so this is something where once yeah. I'll take a new layer. We'll remove this image. Just now. Hello? As we discussed gradient tool, and the text tool is like just typing what we have did that. Now I wanted to give you some source, like to remove the background, we can use this remove.bg to get the images which are highly qualified, like with high definition. We can use unsplash.com, and you can also use that thing for commercial. Colors.co is all about for color palettes. Sometimes you don't know what colors will be good match with red color, what color, so that to go you can visit this website so that you won't have to think what color combinations fit. DAF font. If you want to change the fonts, you can use the DAF fonts. Okay. I hope you got cleared. I hope you learned something. We are open for Q&A if you want. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, participants, you're free to ask one or two questions. Yeah, if there are no questions, I take this opportunity to propose a vote of thanks to Shoaib Isani. So it's very nice to hear from you about the basics of Photoshop techniques, which is
Thank
very
you.
much useful for this generation professionals as well as students in many ways. So one
Exactly.
is in terms of their education, and one more is social media, as it is progressing rapidly. So
Exactly.
I would like to thank you on behalf of our university and
Thank you. Thank you,
college
everyone.
and IDP team, as well as fellow participants, students. So thanks a lot for sparing your valuable time. And here we have to practice this technique, so it cannot be learnt in a day. So
Exactly.
it's very nice to hear from you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to demonstrate. Have a great day.
Thank you. So I would like to thank all the participants for your patience hearing to all the uh, talks which were presented during this 3-day workshop. Thanks a lot for all the participants.